I am back with Favian Renkel, MLS Journo. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure of mine.
It's really exciting to have you on. You've got a very, very exciting job. So briefly tell people who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Fabian. I help grow MLS in the United States. That's what I really try to focus on every single day. Try to get that fan that's not a soccer fan in the United States, because we have a lot of those, to maybe pay attention to who a Denny Bouanga is, or even a Lionel Messi is, right? So yeah, it's a pleasure of mine to help grow the sport here stateside, and it's something that I wake up every day with a drive to do.
That's great. I've seen you on lots of different platforms, so you really are sort of getting the message out and being that real ambassador for MLS. So, what sort of outlets do you work for? I know you work freelance, but yeah. So, who do you normally work with?
Yeah, so I used to work with Forbes. Now I'm at with SBI Soccer. I was with SB Nation at a time. So a whole bunch of outlets and stuff coming up too. So a freelance gig is always good. So I'm always bouncing around all the websites.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, I've seen you doing lots of different commentary and the interviews and stuff on various stuff. So it's always very, very good. So let's dive in really. What about obviously to date stamp this? We're obviously in between the 23 and 24 seasons. With 24 coming up, not that long away now actually, because I was a little bit behind, isn't it? But yeah, so it's a matter of weeks away now. What are you expecting in the new season? Big changes across the league, or just it's kind of as you were?
Yeah, you know what? There was actually a change that came out with the schedule drop, that we saw a lot of games, kind of spread out, more primetime games, which is something that I've been clamoring for last year, because there was games like, if I remember, Seattle versus LAFC last year during the middle of the season, where everybody was watching it because it was on Sunday. It was something where maybe your team's not playing, you're a fan of Charlotte and they're not playing, but you just want to watch something that everybody's watching.
Yeah.
And in American football, primetime games are something that really everybody's watching. So that was a big thing for me. I was saying MLS definitely needs to have these primetime sort of games. Yeah, I totally understand that American football is on Friday, or not Friday, but on Sunday. Why not have one game on Friday, a primetime game, one game on Sunday, and just have these moments where the whole community can get together and talk about Jordan Morris, So
yes.
it's something where I felt like was lacking with Apple TV, and they fixed that. So I'm excited for the season. I think they're gonna be able to fix a lot of things that they did wrong in the first season.
Yeah.
And I think that with Messi starting fully and Miami kind of leading the pack, and LAFC getting Lloris, and who knows who they get next, I think this is gonna be a good season. I really do. I think it's gonna be an underrated kind of go at this. I think a lot of Liga MX people are paying attention now, what's going on in MLS, and here on the West Coast in California, that's huge. Because you walk out in the town, you see Chivas jerseys, you see America jerseys, you don't see MLS jerseys as much. So it's going to be good to see this whole growth this year. And I think the ball is rolling and it's not stopping.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. I think that what they've done there is kind of gone, we're not the heavyweights like NFL is in the States. We're not going to go up against them. Why would you do that? Let's work around them and maybe have our own thing, and people can then do both if they want to, rather, because there will be some people who like your football and soccer, so it's because there are sports fans generally who have multiple teams across these things, and why should they have to compromise? And that's a really nice thing and as you say, Messi's first full season, it's going to be a serious event, isn't it? Like it was when he first joined the league. That's not going to go away. Lloris as well. Yeah, I was really excited to see that as well. There's a lot of real talent over there. Over the last sort of 3 seasons, we've seen the talent grow and grow. Over it's obviously we've talked a lot on the channel about how it's become a really serious option for people. It's a competitive league, it's got big names there, and you're getting massive coverage. I think that the Apple TV deal can't be understated, can it? Because it's really made this. I think it's taken the whole league up in sort of notoriety, maybe.
Yeah. So there were some pros and some cons. Like when LAFC was playing in the Western Conference Final, I was at the game, but my parents traveled along with me, and they didn't want to maybe go to the game. They're a little older. They wanted to maybe go to a bar and watch the game. they went to maybe 2 bars and they couldn't believe that it wasn't on the TV. So it was something that it's like, Apple TV is such a good thing for everybody worldwide, and it's such a good thing for maybe our demographic. But if it's something where maybe these casual fans, like I would say my parents are casual, they know who Buwanga is, they know who Crepeau was, so they couldn't go to a bar and watch the game, and they were pretty shocked because we were in LA, middle of LA, right? So it's something where how do you get those bar owners to put on Apple TV or to put on Direct TV and just throw the game on, or give them enough knowledge to know that it's on Direct TV as well? So I like the Apple TV deal a lot. I really think it's the way of the future.
Yeah.
But getting these bar owners to understand how to, access MLS games and access a whole bunch of content for their beer drinkers or alcoholic beverage drinkers is important, because bar culture is important for this sport. I think going to a pub, I used to do this when Liverpool played Arsenal. We have an Arsenal bar up here in San Francisco, and I would always go into the mouth of the wolf, right? Like in Spanish, we would say el boca del lobo.
That's brave.
Yeah, and it would be a blast. Pints at 6 a.m. Like it's something that we experience over here too. So I think MLS needs to find a way or strategize a little more to maybe get bar owners on board. Maybe even offer a free season pass. Maybe give that away as like a marketing kind of thing, because there was a whole bunch of codes given out with T-Mobile last year. Why not give away codes to the bars?
Yeah, absolutely. You're getting so many more eyes on your product, and those people, a lot of them will watch at the bar and go, actually, I'm going to get that at home.
Right.
They're going to get a lot more custom off that. And I say, well, I don't know what it would be for a bar, but for me, it's not that much over the season compared to what I have to pay to watch UK football on TV. It's actually really cost effective.
Right. Well, the Apple TV deal, the thing that excites me the most is everybody has an iPhone, and we even bully people to get iPhones. I mean, this is a monopoly. This is a monopoly that we're all about. Like everybody get an iPhone. All right, let's all have those blue bubbles together. If we have green bubbles, or if I have to use WhatsApp, I'm going to tell you to get an iPhone, right? So it's something interesting that everybody has an iPhone. So if Apple TV really wants to tell people, hey, Messi's about to take a penalty kick, they can ping every single phone. So it's something that MLS has never had before. And it's a tool that I don't think they've used fully yet. And so I'm excited for season 2 for everything, really.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I think those two things go hand in hand. Yeah, and it is the Apple thing. It's really it's monopoly that we're all perpetuating. And I was in the car the other day with a guy who had an Android phone, and his phone was doing wonderful things. His camera was amazing. It was telling us where it was. It was telling us what the song was on the radio without even asking. It was just all doing it automatically. I was like, your phone does a lot. He was, yeah, it's fantastic. It's much better than an iPhone. I was like, I'm still getting an iPhone.
Yeah. Well, being in this industry, AirDrop is just the best tool, right? Like we have photographers or somebody, has a video of Messi speaking. All right, drop it to me. It's not. I don't have to upload it and then download it. So it's something where iPhones are just hanging it over here. That's for sure.
It's just so easy. Like I say, I've got my iPhone. I work with that and this iMac that I'm recording on right now. Everything's just in the ecosystem. It's just so easy. Anyway, so talking of the videos and stuff, have you done many sort of interviews with players and bosses and stuff?
Yeah, of course. So that's where I kind of got my big break, I would say. I live in San Jose or the Bay Area of California, and a lot of people here and a lot of reporters, a lot of journos, they really appreciate local markets. So in MLS, you get a lot of journos, except for the big guys, I would say, that really, really want to cover their local markets, and that's totally fine. But the way I would kind of find my niche was, let's say Nashville comes into town and Hani Mukhtar is on the other side of the locker room and there's no journos in there. I would grab Hani Mukhtar and Walker and be like, hey, let's do a little interview, and I'm going to just ask you guys some questions while you're both here. And then you get those viral moments, or you get those moments that maybe the fan doesn't see. So there was a moment where I asked Hani Mukhtar, hey, would you want to play for the United States national team since you just got married? would that be possible? And Walker was right there, so someone that's on the U.S. national team. And then Hanny kind of back, right? He's like, yeah, I would love to play for I want to play for Germany, but I would love to play for the U.S. national team. And at that moment, since Walker's right there, nobody's talking to him. I said, Walker, what do you got to do? So there's these moments that I feel like aren't taken advantage of. And I found that niche with those interviews. I think, it's in that moment where they're laughing, that gets the non-soccer fan interested too.
Yeah.
Because if you can get them to watch for a second and then you see the way these guys interact about playing for USA, which is something that's prestigious, right? So, I always thought that might be a route where it's not being utilized enough and somewhere where I can go ahead and kind of make my niche. And that's where I grew and started doing all MLS content, because you would get these sound bites from these players that you would never get, because a lot of the journals really care about their local markets instead of MLS as a whole.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and doing things a little bit more off the cuff, I think.
Yeah.
Going, right, let's go and talk to him. Why not?
Exactly.
Kind of just staying in their lane kind of thing. And that's really, really cool that you're doing it though. So how did the passion for soccer come about in the first place? Was it like from childhood?
Yeah, so my parents are from Uruguay, so that's kind of so that's kind of where it's always been, right? So growing up watching Liverpool, watching Suarez drop 3 on Norwich, having these moments for the World Cups, going to Uruguay every year. My passion, I would say, it's just because it's been my community. It's been what I've grown around, right? So I actually played American football growing up. I'm a bigger guy, so it's just where you slot right into. But as I grew older, I always said, I've had a passion for this. I've had a passion for soccer. I've had a passion for showing my nationality. So it's for me, it went hand in hand. So that's where my passion grew. Having to play the sport, I played it as a kid. And shoot, I would love to play back again. So I'm working to get to there. But yeah, that's where my passion grew.
Fantastic. And who was your first love? Was it the Uruguayan national team? I should have worn my shirt. I've got a Uruguay shirt back here as well. But yeah, was it the national team? Was it a World Cup, or was it sort of one of the British clubs or European clubs?
No, I would say who caught my eye was the Uruguayan national team back in 2010 in South Africa. That was a great team. We watched almost every single World Cup game that year. But I would say my first love, and this might be controversial, would be watching Luis Suarez, put him back in the net for Liverpool. I mean, there was a couple of seasons where he was just insane, different level. I couldn't even believe it. And then that kind of went into Coutinho, and then I just, became a scouser, as they say.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah. I've always been a big fan of Liverpool, and now that they have Nunez, it's almost reignited, the passion I had when I was a kid watching Suarez.
So you're still following Suarez now?
Yeah, I do, right? So next week I'm actually going out to Miami for his first press conference. So
oh wow, how exciting!
Yeah. So that's something where it's gonna be a full circle moment, watching this guy, falling in love with the game, and then being able to interview him, So it's something that's come a long way.
That's insane. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I've done a lot of interviews to where I'm not gonna be starstruck. Like having Gareth Bale right after scoring a game-tying goal in the MLS Cup.
Were you there then? Yeah, God.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever been a little starstruck in MLS, where I was like, dude, this guy's the one that scored the Champions League goal against Liverpool in the final. Like, this is the one, So that was funny, but I've talked to a whole bunch of guys. Like the moment where I felt like my coverage really blew up was when I went to DC for the MLS All-Star game, and we did about 45 interviews in 3 days. So yeah, so I feel like I'll be all right, but you never know when you see your childhood idol, right? So it's funny. It's funny how it is, but practice is what makes people perfect.
He's going to be immense this season. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, the whole team is actually it's really something else, isn't it?
Right. I mean, people were saying that he doesn't have knees or his legs can't give up. I can't really do anything, but he scored a whole bunch of goals in Brazil. and Brazil's a more competitive league, so it's something to keep an eye on, and it's going to be interesting. But I think he's going to do well. I don't think he's going to play too many games because they still have Campana. So
no, yeah, they don't need to.
Yeah, maybe about 20, 25 games, I would say, and that's fine. And in an MLS in this day and age, you're gonna have to have load management with all these games coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, he's still gonna get more than Higuain.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back, you're obviously San Jose, the Earthquakes. This is your team, right?
Right. Yeah. So growing up too, my first soccer game in person was watching the Earthquakes out in Spartan Stadium, and it was just something different. I mean, seeing Wondolowski and the Bash brothers, Alan Gordon and Leonard. Yeah, this is for the real MLS sickos right here. Watching those guys, that ragtag group, it was something that I fell in love with as a kid, and I was a season ticket holder for the Earthquakes. And then I became a journo, but growing up watching those Quakes and watching this area fall in love with that team, that was a nice little thing.
You must. Sorry, go on.
So, Wondolowski has that goal scoring record, and I thought Josef was going to have a chance.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be touched. I don't think anybody's going to touch that goal scoring record.
We're talking of goal scoring records. I was going to say about Landon Donovan was one of yours.
Yeah.
Well, but that must be before your time, right?
Yeah, that was a little before me. So I was born in 95. So Donovan was 2002, 2003. So a little bit before my time. I guess I couldn't have that pain and suffering, that a lot of Quakes fans have. But yeah, I mean, knowing that Landon was on the Quakes is nice because he's a legend with the United States men's national team. But he's that type of personality, so I don't put him past him. Like it's just who he is.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say Quakes, my limited knowledge just goes first to worst. 2001 was it? Where you had the finished rock bottom the previous season and then won it the next time.
Exactly.
That's one of the greatest stories in MLS, surely.
Right.
Absolutely fantastic. There is. I'm not going to do it. I thought about doing a video on it, but there is a really good one done by the Quakes themselves. So I'm not going to just go if you don't know about it. It's great.
The Quakes do a great job on their social media front and creative front. That's for sure. They make everybody know. I mean, to be honest, San Jose is, I would say, probably the least known city in MLS, right? Because maybe Columbus is up there too, but to the international fan, you have to really, really sell your team because nobody really knows the city outside of the United States. So I think they do a great job doing that. And I would say San Jose has this great history, but since it's an international game, they could be doing a little more to try to grow internationally, maybe appeal to some sort of thing where San Francisco is involved. But we'll see what the next few years bring, especially because Seattle does all those like Bruce Lee kits and the Jimi Hendrix kits. Yeah. Maybe the Quakes should have. I mean, Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco. I don't know why Seattle did. It's like, hey, we have Chinatown over here, what's going on?
Yeah. So that kit was, I've got one back here. I mean, they must be one of the best selling kits.
It's beautiful, and it's funny because last night we have the Golden State Warriors, the basketball team here. They had a Bruce Lee night, and I'm just like, all right, they can do the Bruce Lee stuff, but we can't, so it's interesting. But I mean, no, the Quakes are going to have a red jersey this year. That's what they're hinting at. And
really?
Yeah, because it's the 50th year anniversary. So, they've been hinting at that red, so I'm excited to see that red come back for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. That really is. And you've got such a good spot here geographically. There's a lot of there must be a lot of expats, the English people, people from the UK working over there.
Yeah,
tourists going over there a lot as well. So
right,
it's such a multinational destination there, and the places around it. Yeah, there's a big opportunity there, right?
Right. Yeah, no, especially like you said, San Francisco. You have a whole bunch of ex-British guys. That's why there's a Arsenal bar, right? Something that you probably wouldn't find in other cities. So we do have a nice little melting pot here, and we do have a lot of Mexican American fans. We have a lot of I cover a lot of Liga MX games out here, and they sell out that stadium for Chivas, right? So it's something where the Quakes have an interesting kind of go at this. You have to bring in all fan bases. And they've done an okay job to this point, I feel like. So, I mean, it's tough to compete with the LAFCs and Miamis, but let's see if they can,
Absolutely. Like I said, I think it's a club with a lot of potential. So what are the core fans like of Quakes? What are their fan groups? Are they particularly voracious? Do they sing a lot? How would you describe them?
So they have the ultras, and then they have the other side, which is excuse me. They have two supporters groups. They have two big ones. The ultras is the main one.
Yeah.
And then they have the other groups on the other side. That this is tough because unfortunately they don't want to join the ultras, so they put them on the other side. So there's been a little bit of a rift between the supporters groups. So you kind of get two things going on at the stadium at the time. Hopefully they can fix that. But unfortunately, there's the ultras and then the other side.
Oh no! Because when the next question was going to be about rivalries, but I think we've already got one within the within the club.
Right. Exactly. Unfortunately, that's the case. But like you go to LAFC and you see all those groups, they work together, and it's tough. But you have to be able to temper things and emotions to get you guys to fight about one cause, and let's see if they can figure that out in the next couple of years.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah. So, who are the big rivals for Quakes?
Yeah, I would say LA Galaxy is the biggest one. I mean, the Cali Clasico is still a great rivalry in my opinion. Geographically, in every sport, San Francisco, LA, there's always some sort of rivalry there. You have the Giants and the Dodgers, the Warriors and the Lakers, right? So the Rams and the 49ers, if you watch American football. So if it's hand in hand. We always say beat LA up here, but we always say that they want to be from up here, So it's something that it's a lot of fun, and I mean legendary MLS games. If you want to talk about Cali Clásicos, even from LA side, Chicharito doing the clown dance in front of the ultras, because they did a clown tipo, right? It's something that was something where I grew up as a Quakes fan, but as a reporter, I was like, oh. That's a good moment.
That's gold.
And I was like, that's what I'm gonna ask Chicharito about, So I was like, geez, like it's funny being in this predicament now where you had a passion and a love for a club, but then when something happens against your club, you don't get mad about it. You're like, oh, that's golden. That's gonna make the rivalry even better. So
he's come up a few times when I've talked to people who talk to the players and who do the media stuff. He's come up time and time again. I think it's the third or fourth time he's been mentioned. I think he must know exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's actually one of the players that was maybe the most PR trained I've ever talked to. And something about his demeanor really made me feel like I don't know if soccer's his end all be all. I think there's going to be more of Chicharito once he retires, and that might be in TV, or that might be in something else. But I mean, he's a Twitch streamer, right? So he has to be charismatic. He has to be able to talk when he's playing video games. But still, I felt like he was really, really good at talking to people, and he was really, really good at delivering what he wanted to say. And understanding the viral moments that he was creating too.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's it. Feeding the machine. That's what you need to do.
Which is a big part about being a villain, right? Or being a superstar, right? So Zlatan did that very well. I started being a journo a little after Zlatan, so I was like, I missed someone that I really think MLS needs villains. I really do think MLS needs a Zlatan or a Chicharito or even I was hoping for Balotelli for all those years.
Nice. I think Chiellini did his best last season, didn't he?
Oh yeah, Chiellini, right. Right. Just off the pitch, just being so nice and being able to talk to everybody. So Chiellini is a player that will literally say hello and shake the hand of every single person backstage, like every single person. The guy was about to retire and walk out of the stadium, but he made sure to shake my hand and say thank you. And I was like, "You're like a legend in this sport. Why are you thanking me?"
That's a fact, right?
and then tomorrow, that video comes out of him retiring, and I was like thinking to myself, "Was I the last person he thanked?" Who am I? Like I'm nobody. So it was something that it's just odd to see him being so nice off the pitch, but on the pitch, just grabbing jerseys, kicking guys like Rui Diaz is literally getting kicked on the field. It's just funny to see the whole kind of opposite life of a footballer on and off the pitch.
Yeah. Oh, that's mad. So yeah, Balotelli is that still a current rumor, or is that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, shoot, someone throw him an offer.
Much fun.
Yeah, right. Throw him an offer. Let's get him in Orlando. Let's get him with those bad boys out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, he would be on the list of just pure entertainment wise. He would be up really, really up there. Have you heard anything about any other incoming on just any sort of rumors from on the international stage?
Yeah, so not for the big guys, to be honest, because the big guys are so tough nowadays with linking them to Saudi and things like that.
Yeah.
Lloris was a shock to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was one that I don't think anybody really saw coming.
Shocks me as well. Yeah, when it was confirmed, like, whoa, I don't know.
Yeah. So it's a little tough because those big transfers, it kind of happens out of left field. Like you'll see a Serie A winger that maybe being at his end of his career, see some rumors trickle in about him going to the Quakes, or you'll see some of those. But the big guys, they do a pretty good job keeping those initial rumors under the wraps. And I remember Tom Bogert, shout out to him. He does a great job. He broke the Bale news, and that was the first anybody ever heard about Bale coming to LAFC. So I think those big guys are just harder to kind of get your wrap around.
Yeah.
Especially if they're European guys, because Suarez and Messi, we heard years about them. So it's like, because the South American media, I don't know how they do it, but they talk to cousins, they talk to uncles, they talk to dads, they get every single possibility available. But the Euro guys like Lloris and Bale, you really don't hear much about, to be honest.
Yeah, that was I don't know how they do it, but because everything seems to leak everywhere else, so they must have a super professional attitude on this. It's very impressive. So go back to the league season we've got coming up. I mean, is it Inter's to lose now with the squad they've got?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I mean, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but I mean, Cincinnati got better on defense, and if they can keep Marial and Arias, they're gonna have the best defense on paper. So I think Cincy could have a chance.
Not so bad going forward either,
Right. They have Lucho Costa. They're gonna lose Brandon Vasquez though, so Bupenza needs to clean up his act a little bit, and if he does, I would say they have a good chance. But yeah, Bupenza always gets himself in a little bit of trouble with those team violations for showing up late. So maybe because he's the only striker now, they're gonna have to deal with him showing up late, right? So
God, player power, isn't it, when it flips?
right, exactly. When you're out of job and you're saying, they can't fire me, they need me. Like there's nobody that can replace me, right? So that's what Bupenza does, walking into training with Noonan. Yeah, and I think Columbus plays a beautiful style of play, beautiful soccer. They're going to be in the mix.
Pretty the story, won't they?
Right. I mean, I thought that was a perfect send-off to MLS before Miami just runs the table for the next 3 years, right? So I thought this is a beautiful story. It's a beautiful way they play soccer. Amundsen did a beautiful pass in the middle of the MLS Cup final where, wow, there's that type of talent in MLS. That shocked, I think, almost everybody that wasn't a Columbus fan, right? So I think that was a beautiful send-off. I think it's gonna be a three-headed race. I think it's gonna be Columbus, Cincy, and Miami. I think there's no other team unless LAFC gets Griezmann tomorrow. I really think it's gonna be in the East this year again.
They've got to be working on something at AFC, haven't they? Because they don't want to be left behind. They've picked themselves as this glamour club, like we're coming in, we're going to be dominant, and we've got these stars. And now they're kind of in the shadow, and you think they're not going to like that, are they? Yeah,
well, Galaxy's another one where I'm going to keep an eye on because they're just if you've been looking at it, they're just piling GAM up, and when a team piles GAM up like Miami is too, it looks like they're going to be a big mover or a big player in this market, and they want to fill those three-headed or the left wing, the striker, and the right wing with DPs. So shoot, who knows who they get, right?
That could be huge then. Yeah, actually 3 forward positions they've got to fill and
right
deep pockets.
Yeah, so I mean, I mean, Ricky Puig, I mean, get some of your friends, start working like Messi does, right? So
Barca Academy, come on over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna have maybe the Barca Academy from when Messi's time is in Miami, and then now we're gonna have Ricky Puig's time. Let's see if we get some of those guys. Of course, one's a little more prestigious than the other, but it's still a Mesa, right? So we'll see.
Fantastic. I love this. It's just building up the MLS's profile on the international stage. I mean, you hear stuff. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago in the UK, you would hear about MLS, I don't know, once every couple of months, where one of our players went over or something happened over there. Now it's pretty much every week we're hearing something about MLS, be it Lloris or one of those stories. Comes out and you go, oh man, this is really regular now. It's coming a lot into the consciousness.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So a lot of what I do to kind of separate away from the other journals is I really look at like trends and clicks and things like that. So I always look at England to see what they're kind of looking at or how many searches are for a certain soccer term. And I mean, MLS is, starting to around the world pick up. I really do see it. I see like yesterday I released a little tweet saying, Cade Cowell was trending in Mexico. Like Cade Cowell was trending in a country the size of Mexico, right?
Yeah, and when they've got their focus, already,
Which is so insane because I can go up to someone in the Bay Area and ask them who Cade Cowell is, and they won't know. But this guy is one of the biggest searches in Mexico, right? So it's something that it's just like, like I feel like MLS is doing a great job appealing to the international fan. I think that's what we're doing. But trying to appeal to the American soccer fan has actually been, or not soccer fan, but the American sports fan has been tough. So I was saying yesterday, what if the American sports fan doesn't come and MLS just tries to really, really push heavy into the international scene? Because if Cade Cowell is trending in Mexico, there's tons of potential there. I mean, maybe they're not the rah big fans, but shoot, who knows if it's a casual that will throw on a Inter Miami Columbus game, right? So
exactly.
And that counts just as much as a rah fan at some point.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly we have a tournament between MLS and Liga MX now. It's I think they've got a real plan to kind of go, these guys are mad about football, soccer,
Right.
That in there as well. You can have an MX team and an MLS team if you want.
And I always bring up Leagues Cup, and I know this is a very, very political take because of the U.S. Open Cup and what happened to that tournament. But I truly think Leagues Cup is the way of the future to grow. I think Leagues Cup, just because I'm on the West Coast, and like I said before, I see so many Liga MX jersey, and the connection from Californians to Mexico is just so strong. Like everybody has family back home. Everybody here has family in Mexico. So to see Denny Bawanga score 3 on Tigres and then talk smack to your family back home about how we have better soccer, there's just so much love. There's so much connection if that is the case relative to we're not competing with them, and they're like, who's this Denny Bawanga? He scores cool goals, but he can never do that against my Tigres team. So if we have legit competitions against these teams and show that the MLS teams can hang out with these powerhouses that in people's minds are the best teams in the continent, right? So I think it's the way of gaining a lot of notoriety and quickly. If we have Miami going against Club America and putting a 5-0 on them, if that's the case, Mexico turns upside down. Every single team in Mexico is reorganizing, and they're going to start splashing even more cash to not be embarrassed by MLS.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Is there, not to my knowledge, I haven't seen a huge amount of interleague transfer. I would have thought there'd be a lot more with it being such a massive league and so close.
Yeah, so this is why I think this year we're seeing so much more of it. I actually think, shoot, Brandon Vasquez wasn't bad when he played against Tigres, or whatever team they played in Cincy, right? When they made the they made it pretty far out there. So I think MLS teams are being a lot more respected by Liga MX people, by fans, by maybe the clubs. That's why we're seeing Cade Cowell possibly play for one of the biggest Liga MX clubs, right? The biggest of all time in Liga MX, right? One of these legacy franchises. And I hate to downplay Mike Quakes, but he wasn't the best player on My Quakes, right? So to see that type of scouting and that type of potential watch for a MLS guy is something I've never seen before, to be honest. So, you're going to get your Chicharitos going back and forth. You're going to get your Vela rumors, but to get a Cade Cowell rumor to one of the bigger franchises in Mexico is pretty wild.
That is nuts. That's really nuts. I love that. I think it just shows exactly what we've just been talking about. Right, 2 more questions before we end. I want your take on how the Quakes are going to go, first of all.
Yeah, I think the Quakes, are under right management at this moment. I think Luchi Gonzalez did a good job last year. I feel like they need to retool, or else they're going to just be always in the middle of the pack. I really do think there needs to be big changes, and that's coming. I feel like Luchi's done a good job maybe getting rid of some guys that could be better. I think we're seeing – I think the Cade Cowell thing is going to really, really show where this team is going in the future, right? So a lot of people have been mad at the Quakes for not selling players when the offers come in, because if we're not a selling club, then what are we, right? So that's what a lot of fans think. Because we could be at Borussia Dortmund and we could watch Cade Cowell play in Europe and have a blast together, no problem. And then we'll find another guy, right? We'll find another guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's the Quakes fans think they have this sort of golden generation now, and it's like, let's go ahead and let's sell these guys, local guys. Let's see them in the European markets, because at the end of the day, a lot of MLS fans are United States men's national team fans. I mean, they're gonna want to see their players at least try to be on the men's national team. So I think a lot of people understand that you have to be in Europe in that case. So a lot of the fan base really does want to see their players sold, because they want them to have the best career possible. And with the Quakes not selling those guys the last couple of years, it's like we're kind of stuck in this limbo. You don't want to get better at a position because you want this kid to succeed, right? He's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're going up against the Inter Miamis of the world, right, you need some experience to come in and be able to maybe this isn't a springboard for them, but they're gonna do everything they can, like a Denny Bawanga, right? So I think once the Quakes make those moves, they're gonna be looking better. But until then, they'll be in the playoffs or out of the playoffs, the 6th overall type of thing. I think going for a supporter shield is not something they're gonna do yet. But who knows when they get rid of the players that they need to offload.
Yeah. No, fair enough. That's good. I mean, I think playoff this season, last season, in 23, pretty good. So something to build on.
Right, exactly.
My very last question. We've talked about big hitters in the league now. Who's going to be top scorer in 24?
Oof. I love that.
We've talked about Messi, we've talked about Suarez, we've talked about the Cincy players. It's just such an open question, isn't it?
It is. And I think you have to say Cucho Hernandez. I really do. I think the way Wilfred Nancy has that team playing, they're just going to score so many goals. I don't know. I want to say Suarez too, because I feel like everyone's going to be watching Messi, and everyone forgets that this is one of the best strikers in the last 20 years, right? So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so excited for the offense that's going to be this next up season. I mean, it's going to be a goal scoring race of Denis Bouanga, Luis Suarez, Messi, and Cucho Hernandez, right? Like, it's going to be, wow, what year are we living in, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like the new Galacticos in North America. It's absolutely insane. I cannot wait.
And the way Josef Martinez played last year, where he instantly got a boost from playing alongside Messi, and they instantly had a chemistry because they probably played against each other a couple of times in the South American qualifiers. But imagine that chemistry times 20, right?
Yeah,
Like, your best friends on your team now. You know, like there's gonna be some things that they do them too that it's just gonna be like, oh, let's get Neymar. You know, like, let's go get Neymar, right? Like, let's get MSN. Let's get him out of that Saudi deal. Apple, fork over $1 billion. You got it.
make it happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was surprisingly quiet. I thought he would, after his transfer from Atlanta, I thought he would hit the ground and just hit it really, really high level. But he was quiet. And you think, but this has really spurred him, and that is again so exciting, isn't it?
But what was so exciting about that Inter Miami run was like every little piece of news was so big. Like Josef Martinez being the penalty kick taker was the biggest news in the world, right? Because it was like, wait, Messi's not taking penalties, but Ronaldo has this many goals. Wait, what? We can't call him Messi anymore. So it was like it was something that was just so fun, and it's gonna start. It's gonna be a blast. I'm excited to kind of do some more work. We have this little magazine called Footwork that we're working on, and it's something that. I grew up with these slam magazines. I don't know if they had them in England, but for basketball, it was something so cool where it was like these magazines that infused fashion and in basketball and streetwear, and it was something that was just so appealing to me as a kid. And I was like, hey, let's do this for MLS soccer. Let's have a little bit of as we say over here, drippiness to the scene, right? Let's add some coolness to this. And I felt like we did a little good job for our little practice run in our first year. We had Bouanga and Mukhtar.
Yeah. These look fantastic. I mean, people haven't seen them. Where can they see? Because I've seen it. Like that's how we got chatting, wasn't it? I saw wow, what is this?
Yeah, it's you can find it on Instagram at footwork.magazine, and we're gonna hit the ground running pretty hard on season 2. So a lot of things to kind of with legal reasons you kind of have to work out, but even if I can't work those out, they're gonna be available to see, and they're gonna be available for people to have fun with them too as well. And so it almost goes hand in hand with being a journal, because you talk to Hanny and then he knows, hey, you're the one that made the magazine, like so you get better tidbits, you get some things that you probably wouldn't get if you didn't have the magazine. So or you get people coming up to you in Bouanga Circle and saying, hey, Bouanga wants one, like that's something that's really cool.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, what? I'm nobody, bro. Like you don't really want it, So it's really cool. We're excited. We worked with some clubs last year, so we're gonna work with some clubs this year. But a whole bunch of good work, and I'm excited for the season to start because I'm ready to help grow this game another season.
Fantastic. You're doing a fantastic job. And do check out those magazines, anyone watching, because they are really, really good. And if you want any stupid cartoons to include in them, you know where to come, okay?
Yeah. Hey, if you want to, I would love to have your cartoons in them. That'd be like a nice little, like a narrator in the whole magazine. That'd be cool. That'd be
absolutely. Well, let me know, man. I'll be very happy to do it. But so I'm going to let you go, but let people know where they can find you online. Where's if you've got a website? Is it just social media? What's the stuff? And I'll put the details in the description.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. So currently I'm at SBI Soccer for all my journalism work. They do great work out there. We kind of really go into depth with MLS moves, and maybe we're an independent kind of source of MLS content. So if you like that stuff, that's always good there. And then footwork.magazine on social medias is something where you can always find me. On Instagram, I am Favian Renkel. If you want to just hang out with me, always talk to me. I'm always available if you have any advice. And if you're a young journalist, please, no worries. My best advice could be just get started. Do whatever you want to do, but just get started. Because if I have one regret, is that I started a little too late in the game, and I wish I started a little earlier to help grow this game. Because who knows, maybe the game would have been a tiny bit bigger. So help grow the game if you love it, because we're gonna need all your help. That's for sure.
I think if you've started late, then I'm not sure what I've done, because I'm 20 years ahead, and it's I left it all behind me, to be honest, man. But no, please, because I do get in touch with Fabian. He's a really infectious and wonderful personality, so I can very much vouch for that.
And it's my pleasure to be on this show. I've always seen the doodles. I've loved it, so I've always had a blast watching your shows on YouTube. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I really do mean that. So, thanks for very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.
Cheers.